welcome to or welcome back. So, today we are finally going to be ranking all the Freida McFadden books that I've read this month. So, the total number of books I read this month is 16 books. Yay! That's the most amount of books I've read in any other month ever. So, that's exciting. But, full disclaimer, like full transparency, I do not typically read 16 books in a month. Okay, I mean, I don't even get to double digits number of books in a month. So this was strictly for like the challenge of it, just trying to challenge myself to see how many books in her catalog I can get through. The whole goal was to read as many as I possibly could, and I wanted that to be a high number. So we did it. 16 books. I was shooting for 15, got to 16. Love it. So yes. So today I'm going to be ranking them from my least favorite to my favorite. I'm only doing the 16 books I read this month. I'm not doing all the books I've read from her in total. So you get to follow along. I have my list, I have my notes. Let's do it. And number 16, we have The Dinner Party. I don't have too much to say about her short stories. The Dinner Party, was like a different formula than what she normally uses. So at the time, when I did read The Dinner Party, it was really refreshing. And number 15 is The Widow's Husband's Secret Lie. This was a satirical short story and it was actually really funny. I was giggling at it, like it was super funny. I like how Freida McFadden is able to make fun of herself and the genre that she writes in and just have a little fun lighthearted moment. I thought it was a really funny book. Number 14, we have The Gift. Um, I mean, for a short story, it's a good read. So, number 13 is The Crash. One of her psychological thrillers. It follows Tegan, who is 8 months pregnant, and she's on her way to go visit her brother, and when she crashes her car in a blizzard. She gets rescued by this couple who take her to their remote cabin and give her shelter to wait it out and stuff. Wait the blizzard out to take her to the hospital, and then she quickly realizes that she's being held captive by this couple, and she has to fight for her and her unborn child's survival. So this book for me, I was gonna put at number 16. I know I was gonna put it at number 16. It just didn't really do too much for me. Like the the bulk of the book was good. Like don't get me wrong, it was good. But the plot twist I felt like was just a plot twist just to be a plot twist. I feel like it didn't really make sense for me. Um who the actual villain of the story was. And then it also didn't make sense how like everything was kind of forgotten. Like I don't want to give too much away, but everything was kind of forgotten, like everything was fine after. But I don't know. This book, yeah, coming in at number 13 for me. It wasn't my favorite Freida McFadden like standalone long book. So, yeah. And some people do compare it to Misery by Stephen King. I have not read that book yet. I have it on my shelf somewhere, but I haven't read it yet. So, I mean, maybe when I read it, I can come back and do like a little comparison, but we'll see. But moving on. For number 12, we have Dear Debbie. Dear Debbie is another psychological thriller. It follows a local advice columnist who basically she's just, you know, she uncovered a few lies and a few things where people have done her family wrong. So she's basically seeking revenge for all those who wronged her and her family, even if it is her family who's wronged her. I feel like it was kind of just like a boring story for me. And that sounds like harsh, but I don't mean it to sound harsh. I just wasn't too intrigued in the story too much as I normally am with Freida McFadden books. It was just kind of boring to me. I will say though that the plot and the ending of the book did elevate the book for me. For sure. For sure. It really did. And cuz I just did not see that plot twist coming. But when it happened, I was still a little confused and it was just I don't know. It just didn't come together for me how most of her books normally do. Number 11, we have The Housemaid's Wedding. This one, I know a lot of people don't really like it. They say that Freida McFadden should have kept it. They're like, keep it, girl. Wasting my time reading this. But honestly, I feel like I feel like for what she wrote it for, which was a little bridge, between The Housemaid's Secret and The Housemaid is Watching. She just wanted like a little short story so you guys can see, or so we as the readers can see how Enzo and Millie got together, their little wedding and everything, and just give us a little snack sized book between those two books. And I feel like for what she wrote it for, it served its purpose. I think it was a nice little update on their lives and stuff. Coming in at number 10 is Dead Med. Dead Med follows five first year medical students, and they're going to this very prestigious medical school that is nicknamed Dead Med due to its dark history with students overdosing at this school from all the stress of that is caused by medical school. With this book, uh, the thing that really got me the most was the restarting of every single POV. So you get Heather's POV and you get her story all the way through. Then you get Abe, and now we're starting all the way over. We're back at orientation until his goes all the way through. You get Rachel back at orientation till her stories all the way through, and then Mason, Sasha, like it continues. And that part was very annoying to me. I hated having to restart every single time, and it kind of just felt like leaving the characters off on a cliffhanger. I know like she tried to tie it up like all in the end and stuff, or through other storylines, but it kind of just felt like it was just leaving us on a cliffhanger with one POV and starting us completely over for another POV. If that makes sense, what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it just, I don't know. It felt chaotic and it felt like a lot was happening, but at the same time, it felt like nothing was happening. If that makes sense. Like it felt like a lot, but also not enough. And then the ending, it was just it was a an okay ending. Coming in at number 9, we have The Surrogate Mother. Follows Abby, who is desperately, desperately trying to have a baby with her husband. She's tried adoptions, they fell through. She's tried IVF, it wasn't working. And then one day, her assistant comes to her with an offer, a life changing offer. She offers to be her surrogate mother. And though her and her husband were, well, her husband really, and her best friend, and her mom were all kind of like, probably don't do that. They're all kind of wary at first. Eventually, obviously, they end up accepting her offer. This book here, I feel like the tension just kept building and building, and it made me so anxious. I don't know if you've seen the week that I read this book, but I was like under the covers. I was like rocking back and forth because oh my gosh, I was so anxious reading this book. Even though the plot twist is very predictable, right? The ending is very predictable. Um it was still just like that build, that anticipation, that anxiety of what is this woman gonna do? Especially how like how the story like unfolds and how Abby really has no biological like connection to the child. Like it was all just so scary. So it really had me like on the edge of my seat. Even though, like I said, even though I knew what the ending was gonna be, knew what the plot twist was gonna be, it was just such good writing to where I was just like, oh my gosh, what the heck is gonna happen next? What is this lady gonna do next? But Yeah, I think it was a really fun read. Number 8 is The Housemaid's Secret. So, The Housemaid's Secret follows Millie. I think it's 4 years after the Housemaid's first books take place, and she gets a new job. She's working for the Garretts, cleaning their penthouse apartment, when she discovers that the wife is basically kind of being held captive, and she vows to and promises that she will protect her. So this book, to me, honestly, I think I like it better than The Housemaid, like the first one. Might be a hot take, I don't know, but I really liked it. I feel Millie is a little annoying as a character at some points, but in her defense, Freida McFadden is going to write a very annoying female main character. Like, it's just in her blood to write a very annoying female main character. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I 100% feel that way. Like, I don't know why, but her main characters can be annoying. Um, but honestly, with this one, I think it was a solid book. You know, it was a fast paced thriller. It was good overall. I don't really have much to say about it. Coming in at number 7, Death Row. For a short story, it was jam packed. It was a roller coaster. I was up, I was down, I was confused, I was on a loop de loop. Like, what's going on in this short story? I mean, for it to be like 74 pages, I can't remember the page count, but uh, she wrote the hell out of that short story. Okay, I really enjoyed it. Even though the at the end, I was also kind of confused. I was like, wait, what happened? Did she make it? Did she not? But I think it was like her best short story. Number 6 is The Locked Door. The Locked Door follows a very successful surgeon named Nora, and basically her life kind of gets turned upside down when a patient of hers comes up and is discovered that she's been murdered in the exact same style as a notorious serial killer who happens to be Nora's father. So, being this was her patient, killed the exact same way, copycat style, as her father, there's a target on her back. Of course, law enforcement thinks that she's the one who did it. So, in her effort to clear her name, she has to confront her dark past, and it gets a little messy and all into that. This book right here hooked me from the beginning because I think the concept of just following a serial killer's daughter and her story is like so intriguing. You know, it's such an intriguing concept to me. Like, what do you have to go through? You know, like how is your life? How can your life be normal? Changing your name, yes, and stuff, but like it hooked me from the beginning, but it just fell flat at the end. I felt like the plot twist for me was just a plot twist just to be a plot twist, you know, like I feel like it would have been better if well, I won't say too much because I don't want to give too much away. But the plot twist just wasn't for me. Um Obviously I didn't know that that was going to be the plot twist, but when I did, it wasn't shocking. It wasn't a crazy revelation. It was just like, eh. Coming in at number 5, we have Brain Damage. Brain Damage follows a highly successful dermatologist named Charlotte, aka Charlie, whose life changes overnight when she is shot in her luxury New York City apartment, right? When she wakes up in the rehab facility, she has left side paralysis. She has she can't see anything from her left side, and she has a little bit of amnesia, right? She doesn't remember who shot her. She doesn't remember what happened. She has nothing. But let me tell you, okay? This book, I think this is like one of her first books she wrote, if I'm not mistaken. But I feel like it's a little underrated, okay? Being a Freida McFadden book, there's not really a plot twist at the end. There's not really anything too crazy going on in this book. But I feel like it was just a really good story. Like I loved going on this adventure, like reading this story about this woman's life and um her her rehab recovery. Like I don't know. I just really liked it. I honestly did. I think that um she she obviously she feels a little down on herself, right? She just got shot. She has to relearn how to do everything. She can't remember her name. She can't remember like half the stuff, right? When she first wakes up. But this is what I'm talking about with Freida McFadden and her um writing of her main characters, especially her female main characters. It's like not only will they be annoying most of the time, but they will also be very, very down on themselves. Like she does not write confident characters. Like I feel like every character I read, they're like, I'm I'm like a 3 and my boyfriend's a 10, you know? And I'm like, okay, this book especially, right? When which if any character is gonna feel down on themselves, I guess it would be this character. Okay, she just got shot in the head. She can't remember too many things. She can't use her left side. She can't even see out of her left side. The left side completely gone to her. Like she can't see out of her left side at all. And like yeah, I would say okay, you know, I get it. You're feeling down on yourself. You don't feel pretty. You don't feel admire like you don't feel gorgeous. You don't feel anything about yourself right now because you're trying to work on getting back to where you were, right? But even when she was at that peak in her life where before she got shot, she was still kind of like down on herself, where it's like, why is this man talking to me? He's like a 10, you know? And I am definitely not a 10. And she's feeling like that when in this book, she had not one, but two people besides her husband confess their love for her. I mean, yes, granted, one was like a stalker and weird, but it's like, girl, you have callers. Like, people find you attractive. One of them was even while you were in the rehab facility, you know? But that's just my thoughts on it. I can go on and on talking about how she writes these characters, but we're gonna end that one right there. I don't want to be on a tangent. Coming in at number 4, we have Ward D. So Ward D, it takes place in a psychiatry unit in a hospital and takes place overnight in the span of just the 12-hour shift. Okay, that's where we are. That's where we live. It has a lot of twists and turns where you're trying to figure out what is going on in this confined space, right? And this book was really, really good, especially at the beginning. Like I was really, really hooked on this book, consumed it, loved it. I do like how it took place in just like a little small area in the span of one night. That was a nice refreshing moment in this Freida McFadden reading marathon. I will say though, once I figured out who was old girl, I can't remember, her ex best friend. Once I found out who was her boyfriend, it was kind of already downhill from there, right? So nobody is who they say they are, right? But such a fast paced read, such an easy read, such a good read. Like now it's time for the top 3. This one coming in at number 3, I already know there's gonna be people like, what the heck, girl? You know, hot take, controversial take. Most people don't like this book. I, on the other hand, put it on 3. That is The Coworker. I know, I know, I know. The Coworker follows 2 coworkers. One is Dawn and one is Natalie. Natalie is like a super popular, um, great saleswoman in the office that they work for, which is Vix. That's the company they work for. Dawn, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. She is awkward, unpopular, and she is the accountant, right? She's not a salesperson, but she is the awkward, unpopular accountant working at this company. they have the cubicles like right next to each other. So Dawn doesn't show up for work one day, right? And she's a very punctual person. Like, Natalie knows her schedule down to a T. So when she doesn't come into work, which is very unusual for her, Natalie is concerned. And that leads her to going to her house because she did get a weird phone call saying, "Help me," on the phone. She goes to Dawn's house where she sees like a crazy scene, blood everywhere in her apartment and stuff, and realizes she's missing, calls the police. This just leads Natalie to become a suspect, basically. I'm gonna get this part out the way. I know. Just as annoyed as you were, I was too. About them turtles, okay? I know. Okay. I Googled it. I said, how many times did Freida McFadden write the word turtle in this book? Google talking about 400. 400 times. I don't know if that's true because I'm not going back to read it to count them, but the turtle talk was crazy. It was insane. But that also bleeds into what I say about Freida McFadden, where she wants to make a point, she's going to pound it into the book. And you, as a reader, have no choice but to see it get pounded into the book. Like, we understand, okay? We understand that Dawn liked turtles. We get it. Trust us. Trust us as a reader to understand that we get it, okay? Like, why do we have to read something about a turtle in every sentence? Every sentence. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. Okay? Look, see? She got my blood pressure up. Please. It's kind of like with the locked door. The locked door got me really annoyed. By chapter 3, I was annoyed because we get it. Your dad was a serial killer. We get it. Your dad's not a nice guy. We get it. You are a surgeon. You save people's lives, and he took people's lives. We get it, And we got that by chapter 3. No need to keep pounding it in, but that's what the author does. She wants to get a point across. She's going to pound it into the book until you can no longer take it. And I know, that was a lot of people's breaking points with this book was the turtle talk. I looked past it and I read the story, and I think it was a good story. I think that some of the twists were shocking. Didn't see them coming. Liked it. But overall, I think it was a great book. It was like, I don't know. At the beginning, I was like, this is just straight bullying. Like, what is going on? But save a turtle. I don't know. Number 2. I'm going to number 2. Look at, she got me over here all worked up over these damn turtles. That's how I was reading the book. I said, are we going to find out a damn turtle killed her? Like, why the hell are we talking about all these damn turtles? Not just one type of turtle. We're not just talking about land turtles or sea turtles. We're talking about tortoises. And look, now I done said turtle about 400 freaking times. Moving on to number 2. Coming in at number 2 is the boyfriend. So the boyfriend follows Sydney. The boyfriend follows Sydney, who is kind of down on her luck in the dating game until she comes across this man named Tom, who she meets on a dating app. And, things are going well with Tom. She thinks Tom might be the one until she suspects him of being a serial killer who targets the women that he dates, basically. This one had me also, like the last one, blood boiling a little bit. Because I get it, Sydney, you are tired of this dating game and you find someone who you kind of like, and you're like excited about it, but to ignore every single red flag along the way, a little unacceptable. But that's what our girl Sydney did. She said, "Oh, red flag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we'll give them 10 red flags, and then after that, maybe I'll say something." But she ignored all the red flags, and I was like, "Girl." But unrealistic reliable narrator, okay? Because I did not know where this book was going. I thought I knew. I thought I knew at the end. I thought I knew in the last couple chapters. And then that plot twist happened, and I was like, that's who? Where? Who? Like, got me. I was gagged. I was like, oh, no way. That is why this is at number 2, because throughout this journey of reading these books, I have not been gagged like I was in this book. I was like, yes, Miss McFadden, more of this, please. And it's like, she tried to do it in her other books, but didn't quite do it like she did it in The Boyfriend. It was great. I loved it. I did. I loved it. But yeah, finally made it to my number 1 ranking. And if you've been following along with the journey, then you already know what it is. It's the first book I read in this journey, and it remained at number 1, and that is Never Lie. Never Lie follows newlyweds Trisha and Ethan as they are house hunting, and they are going to view a house. It's a mansion, really. It's a remote mansion. They go and view the house, and when they get there, they get snowed in. They can't leave the mansion. So they're stuck there for the weekend. The house belonged to a psychiatrist, a missing psychiatrist, and she kept audio recordings of um all of her sessions that she's ever had. Trisha comes across these recordings and she starts listening to them, and she uncovers some dark secrets, some dark lies that came from her patients and some more stuff. So this book right here was good. It was really good. Overall, just like the writing, the location, the story, just everything came together so perfectly. The plot twist just so perfectly for me, to where I'm like, I will always recommend that book if you are just barely getting into Freida McFadden. Like, that was a really, really good book. And honestly, not just out of the 16, but out of all the books of her that I've read, my number 1 favorite book from her. She really did her thing on that one. Clap it up for Miss McFadden. But that is it, you guys. We made it to the end. That was the last book. Okay, so I really had fun doing this little series, this little reading marathon. It was so much fun. For me, Freida McFadden is a great author. I said it multiple times throughout this, but she's a great author. If you want something fast paced, you want something that's quick, you want something that you could read in like one setting or like a day or two, you want something to get you out of a reading slump, this is your girl. Freida McFadden is the author for that. I can confidently say, if Freida McFadden puts it out, I'ma read it, okay? And I do plan on finishing her catalog. It just won't be in like this type of reading marathon sense. Like this, it just won't be like how I did it this time, right? I do plan on finishing her catalog, and when I do, maybe I'll come back and do like I read all of Freedom and Family's catalog and rank them all together on a list for you guys. But that's at some point in my life, right? That's not anytime soon. So yeah, I don't know. But that's it for this video. I'm so glad if you stuck with me from beginning to end. Thank you so much. It was fun. It was a learning experience. It was a roller coaster. It was just up and down. I'm gonna end it there because I'm just yapping, just to yap now at this point. So, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.